Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here with my 3-day review of the Pixel 4 XL. Now this is not going to be an exhaustive review. I will be spending quite a bit more time with this phone, but I did just want to kind of go over my initial experiences with this phone, talk a bit about design, display, all that good stuff, and then also want to compare some of the other phones I've been testing, because I do know you guys aren't as big a fan of this Pixel 4 XL, so I will want to compare it next to some other phones out there that are really disrupting the market, like this Realme X2 Pro, in terms of value, and really answer the question, are you getting the value at that price point of $899 for this Pixel 4 XL? Now hold your horses. I think a lot of you already know the answer to that, but let's really give this phone a chance, because there are some things that I have loved about the Pixel 4 XL so far. But let's quickly show you what is inside the box for the Pixel 4 XL. I'll move this stuff aside. And there we see we do have a USB-C to USB-A dongle included. These are actually pretty useful. I use these actually when I need to transfer files for my photo comparisons between my MacBook Pro and any Android phone. So very useful little tool there. And we also have a USB-C to USB-C cable in the box. That is very positive. And also have a UK plug. And this looks like a standard 18-watt charger for the Pixel 4 XL. So pretty basic unboxing, and kind of a downgrade, I think, from previous years where they included not just that free unlimited Google Photos little kind of card, and that is another thing that the Pixel 4 XL is missing, but no headphones in the box as well. So kind of a bummer there. The design was something that was very polarizing. I didn't think I would like it as much as I have. Now, I'm not saying it's my favorite phone of the year in terms of design, but it is striking. There's just something different about it. And clearly this oh so orange is one of the reasons why. As we can see here, 6.3-inch display, 64 gigs, and it's this kind of matte orangey color. Now this kind of shows it to be a little bit more orange, but in this lighting I can tell you it's got this highlighted orange appearance. And I do like the fact it is not a fingerprint magnet. In fact, this is the probably most matte phone that I own. You just don't get any fingerprints on this phone. I also don't mind the black edge. I think the color contrast was something that I didn't really appreciate at first, but I gotta say now, after using it for 3 days, I really do enjoy the look of the back of this phone. Now in terms of dimensions, we're looking at 193 grams, 8.2 millimeters, so it is quite a thin phone when you compare it to some other ones like the Realme X2 Pro, which is coming in at 8.7 millimeters. But let's talk about this 6.3-inch display, because the front of this phone is a whole different story. Now, as you can see right there, there's no avoiding that big top notch. And I think there's two ways of thought here. Pixel could have done another giant bathtub notch and it would have been ridiculed, and it would have just been the laughingstock of 2019 phones. So what did Google do? They just made a giant notch and put a bunch of tech in here. And showing you face unlock, it works incredibly fast, even faster than the one on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. We also have the Soli radar, which is actually turned off here in Hong Kong. The moment I go to another country, though, where it is actually activated, like Taiwan or Singapore, it should turn on. But that's a bummer for me and for any of you guys considering this phone in other countries. And in India, it's not even for sale. So yes, there's a lot of tech they put up here, but I still feel this phone is behind the times when it comes to display. Just look, and the front panel appearance, it just looks old. But I'm glad to see that they've had a really smaller notch at the bottom. And when you're using the gestures, as you can see right there, it is the closest thing to an iPhone in terms of how those gestures work. And I really do appreciate that they've been at least able to trim it down on the bottom here. Now, talking about the display, the other key point to consider here is that it is a Quad HD panel and it's running a 90 Hertz refresh rate. And so you can see when you're kind of scrolling through certain parts of the UI, you notice it. But you also notice at times when it doesn't do that. And I definitely notice when I lower the brightness, and started using the phone, it almost goes to 60 hertz, and when it's below 75%, it's more noticeable. Now, when I go max brightness, it is smooth as butter. And this is definitely second to the OnePlus 7T, one of the fastest phones that I've used this year. But I will say that when I go to settings, you go to System, Developer Options, and here it is, Force 90 Hertz refresh rate. And when I set this, guys, this is the fastest phone possibly on the market. And that's next to the OnePlus 7T as well. This has the same level of fluidity as the OnePlus 7T when you force that 90 hertz refresh rate. Now, what does that mean in terms of battery life? I think it's clear you see I'm already at 17%. And now let's talk about performance. The Snapdragon 855, so it's not the 855 Plus in this phone, 6 GB of RAM, and we got the 64 gigs of storage version on my unit. Now, those are kind of pitiful when you compare to some of the other Android phones that have been released this year. Take the Realme X2 Pro, for example. The X2 Pro that I have comes with 8 gigs, 128 storage, and yes, there are some lower level options, but it makes a difference. It's not so much that this phone is going to suffer, let's say in the first year of use, but it's later on, once you start using this phone, for 1, 2, 3 years, that you'll notice the extra RAM really helping out. And so just wanted to bring in also, from a design perspective, the OnePlus 7T and the Realme X2 Pro. Now, they're all of a similar size, as you can tell, and the bottom bezel on these phones are tiny. I think the Pixel actually has the smallest bottom bezel of the three, just by a hair. But when you look at this top notch, you can clearly just feel that this phone, the X2 Pro, and its design is just so much more advanced than the Pixel 4 XL. And that goes the same here for the OnePlus 7T. And then when you look at these phones in terms of their specifications, pretty similar. Yes, these are running the 855 Plus, but I think the bigger difference is on those storage and RAM capacities. When you look, you have 8 gigs and 8 gigs standard on these phones. 128 gigs of storage. 256 gigs that you can get with this OnePlus 7T, and a starting storage amount of 64 gigs. It's just not enough, Google. And I think that was a major mistake that both them and Apple, I'm not giving Apple a pass either, have done this year. To not start at 128 gigs standard is a mistake. But there's one thing that affects the Pixel 4 XL, I think even more, and that's the lack of an 8 gigabyte RAM option. It's great that they've moved up to 6 gigs, and you can definitely feel the difference. The phone is a lot snappier, and it holds apps in memory. It is a very speedy phone, and my worry, though, is because of that lack of RAM, once you start getting more apps in memory, that you will feel those slowdowns compared to these two other phones. That, also considering the price point of this phone, is just so much more than the other two. I think that is a concern. But the major concern, let's talk about it now, the thing you guys are most worried about, and you should be, is battery life. And you can see here, just in the time I've been doing this video, 8 minutes in, I'm already down 2% from when I started. The battery life on the Pixel 4 XL is not good. And GSAM Battery Monitor is right now predicting 1 hour and 46 minutes of screen on time. That is not good. But I will show you guys my previous experience with the battery. And this was just from a screenshot I took probably an hour back, but I have been using Twitter quite a bit. I watched a few YouTube videos, and yet yesterday I wasn't feeling too well, guys. I was not kind of out and about and lying in bed most of the day. And that's the problem I have with this battery. Isn't so much how it works while you use it. It's more the fact that the standby is just not good. The standby just continues to drop, and you can see here this ambient display mode really caused a lot of problems on this Pixel 4 XL. And I think on the Pixel 4, I can't even imagine this thing lasting more than a half a day. Because since Tuesday evening, when I really started using this phone, taking photos, till today, sure, it has not died yet, which is good, but some of my other Android phones I have not used for a bit of time as well, and they last so much longer. The standby on, for example, the Realme X2 Pro has probably only dropped by a factor of 20%. in the last 2 days. And that considering I was really just lying in bed, not using any of these phones yesterday. So this is just the biggest worrying aspect of owning a Pixel 4 XL. I wouldn't even consider the Pixel 4 at this point if battery is a concern, but I really actually think that you may not be considering this entire Pixel 4 lineup this year if battery is a concern. Now, lucky for me, I do have a lot of phones that I can use, and at the same time, though, I'm being spoiled by those phones because of just how good battery life that they actually bring to the table is. And so I would say that is the major concern between the Pixel 4 XL and even the OnePlus 7T, which did really well in my battery tests. Now, I will be doing a full comparison between the Pixel 4 XL and these other phones in a later video, but for now, really just wanted to put them here to the side and now talk about the main aspect of this phone. I think the real reason you would want to get this phone is the camera. And so talking about the camera with the Pixel 4 XL, this is the one single aspect of this phone, I think, that makes it even worthwhile for any of you guys considering it. Now, beyond obviously the beautiful stock Android experience that I love, the camera is the major selling point of this phone. And just showing you here some of the night mode shots I've taken with this phone. And there's something about night sight on Pixel that, while I do appreciate the improved detail and quality of the iPhone 11 Pro Max's night sight shots, there's just something about the Pixel 4 XL shots that I like. It may not capture the detail when you really zoom in, but there's just a brightness to the shots that I do appreciate quite a bit. And portrait selfies are great on this phone as well. The other feature that I think has been highly touted is that super res zoom, which, as you can see this building in the distance, once I zoom in 8x, you can get quite a bit of detail just from that. And now, yes, it is some sort of a digital zoom, but machine learning is being applied to the secondary telephoto lens on this phone, which is an f2.4, so it's not even that good of a telephoto. But what it is able to do with this super res zoom is fairly impressive, and I think some people will find a good use in this feature. And yet, there's one thing that I'm missing from this phone, and that is the wide angle camera. And when you look at every other phone that I own on the market that's been released, even in the $300 to $400 price ranges, it's hard to just look past the fact that the Pixel 4 XL has 2 cameras on board. But when you look at the other players in the market, like Realme, like OnePlus, even heck iPhone has now included a wide angle camera in their sensor set, and it just makes a difference. It's just a camera that I enjoy shooting with. It gives you more flexibility, and I think it just really makes for a more well-rounded camera experience. The lack of this on the Pixel 4 XL is really a bummer, and I gotta say, if camera is going to be your main selling point on a phone, the lack of wide angle here really is an unfortunate development for the Pixel 4 series. So that's it for this impressions video. Stay tuned, I will be having a full comparison where I will do my audio test and PUBG showdown with the Pixel 4 XL, the Realme X2 Pro, and the OnePlus 7T. Now, there's a lot of things to like about this Pixel 4 XL, and the key features are the things that you'd like about any Pixel experience. So you have that really smooth Google stock interface, all the nice little bells and whistles that come with it. So you have that assistant squeeze to assistant mode, which is very nice. And you also have the new features that are being included on this Pixel phone, like the Face Unlock, which is probably my favorite Face Unlock on any Android phone. And other awesome new apps like the Recorder app, which let me show you right here. Testing the Recorder app, testing to see how this works. Hey guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. I said that wrong. Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Ha 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 ha. That was pretty cool, and that worked pretty well. Let's have a look at it. Here, testing the Recorder app, testing to see how this works. Hey guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. I said that wrong. Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Ha 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 ha. So there you go. It works really well, and I must say is going to be very useful if I'm ever in a place that I need to just record and get transcription of what I'm hearing. That's great as well. I will say the camera is also a standout. It's been doing really awesome nighttime shots. The selfie shots look good too. Video isn't great. I will tell you from my experience so far, it is not one of the highlights of this phone at all, but just the overall use and the 90 hertz refresh rate when forced is awesome. But now let's go to the cons. The design, it's not going to be for everyone. I do like it, but I think for some of you, it may be almost too utilitarian in appearance. In terms of display, yes, you do have a lot of great tech up here, but like I said, the Soli sensor is not even working here in Hong Kong, and this much bezel for just face unlock, I don't think it is worth it. The display, while nice, and yes, it's got that beautiful quad HD, so pixel peepers, you will love this display. But on the negative is that the brightness is not great. I think it maxes out at around 470 or so nits of brightness, which is a lot more dim than the other phones that I've been testing, like the OnePlus 7T, like the 11 Pro Max. They just have much brighter displays. And then let's face it, the elephant in the room has got to be the battery life. The battery life, you can see it here in just this 15-minute video I've done of this phone. I'm now down to 10%. I'm running on fumes, and I will need to charge this phone up again. For anyone who is even slightly anxious about battery life on their phones, stay away. Do not even consider the Pixel 4 series, and that includes the XL as well. And it really is unfortunate. I do like that there's wireless charging, and you can do 18-watt charging, but the battery experience has definitely already been not good after 3 days, and I think it's just going to get worse. So stay away, guys. Stay away if your battery is your top priority. So beyond that, would I recommend this Pixel 4 XL over the other phones I've been testing? I think for a lot of you, you know the answer to that. The answer is likely no. If you are a huge fan of the Pixel and stock Android experience, you want one of the best cameras on any smartphone with that awesome astrophotography, great night mode shots, and just very interesting super res inclusion here. Lack of a wide angle, though, is a deal breaker for, I think, for some of you out there, but you still have an amazing camera experience. And if Google updates and the latest software is another main priority for you, then you can have a look at this Pixel 4 XL. Don't even look at the smaller one, just look at this bigger 4 XL. But I think considering my audience and considering a lot of you guys looking at phones for a much lower price like this Realme X2 Pro, you're just going to get so much more for so much less. That really, this is more an exercise for myself. I'm a big Pixel fan and I love it, and I know a lot of you guys are not, and I know a lot of you guys will not even consider this phone. So I think I know the answer, and my general recommendation for most of you guys would be look at other alternatives. There definitely are other options on the market. Even the OnePlus 7T, I think, is probably a still better rounded phone over this Pixel 4 XL. Now, why am I going to keep the Pixel 4 XL for a while? The camera. I love the camera. I love the interface. But I'll tell you what, if this battery life continues to disappoint as much as it has already, that would be the one sole reason that I would eventually send this back. Because battery life is becoming important to me. All of the major OEMs have stepped up their battery game, including you, Apple. And so I think using this phone now in 2019 with such abysmal battery life is a major concern and maybe the ultimate deal breaker for Frankie Tech and the Pixel 4 XL. So thanks for watching, guys, and I am feeling a lot better today, so I can finally get back to making some more content for you guys soon. And definitely stay tuned for that comparison between the X2 Pro, this phone, and the OnePlus 7T. Also stay tuned for that giveaway. I haven't forgotten it. Like I said, I've been under the weather, but I will be up and running in no time, so stay tuned for that as well. And I know what you're all thinking out there, CC9 Pro, Mi Note 10. Look, I will try to get this phone when I can, but honestly, there's some great reviews out there, and if you haven't seen the Mi Note 10 review by my man Ben Sin, Ben's Gadget Reviews, go check it out, because he makes quality, non-clickbait, real reviews, kind of in the same vein as Frankie Tech, and I think he does a great job of it. Go and support his channel and give him those views on that video if you haven't seen it already. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up, and if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one. Did it die? Oh, no. Almost dead, though.